from Banjul, this is GRTS News, broadcasting for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. We begin with the headlines. More diplomats continue to present letters of credence to the Gambian President Adama Barrow at State House. The Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Touré, presides over the launch of the Gambia government in the World Food Programme COVID-19 Emergency Food Assistance. And GRTS examines the country's struggle to nationhood as the Gambia celebrates 56 years of independence. And on the internationals, Nigeria approves the release of nearly $17 million fund to build oxygen plants across the country. Well, these and many other stories coming ahead in this edition of the News at 10. Thank you for joining us. My name is Fatoumata Cham. Welcome back to the news at 2200 hours GMT. We begin this bulletin with the presidency, where more diplomats continue to present letters of credence to His Excellency the President Adama Barrow. The ambassadors designate of Serbia and the Islamic Republic of Pakistan were at the State House for the formal ceremony, which officially marks the beginning of their tenure as diplomats accredited to the Gambia. Both ambassadors pledged to enhance the existing relationships between their respective countries and the Gambia. Our presidential affairs correspondent is Mamadou Jallo, and he now reports.
His Excellency Jura Likar, Ambassador Designate of the Republic of Serbia, was formally welcomed at the State House to present his letters of credence. He is the first accredited ambassador plenipotentiary and extraordinary to the Gambia since the dissolution of the former Yugoslavia, and this marks a new beginning in the two countries' relationship. Speaking to reporters after the formal presentation, Ambassador Likar extended warm compliments from Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić to President Barrow.
I'm very happy that I had that honor to present my credentials to the President Barrow, and during our conversation we focused on the ways of improvement of relations between our countries. There are a lot of possibilities in different areas, but we will focus on developing of economic cooperation between our two countries. Also in the field of education, because the Republic of Serbia offers scholarships for the students from Gambia.
The Serbian ambassador is based in Dakar, also accredited to several other West African countries. Next came the High Commissioner Designate of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, His Excellency Ali Ahmed Arain. He was later ushered into the chambers, where he presented his letters of credence to President Barrow. The Gambia and Pakistan have had excellent bilateral relations, which span decades, and High Commissioner played to consolidate cooperation in the areas of education, security, and the judiciary.
Pakistan has been providing its whatever we can do for Gambia. You know, two of your judges of the Supreme Court were from Pakistan. Right now, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Gambia is from Pakistan. We are also trying to train your officials capacity building, not in the civilian institutions, also in the military institutions. And also we want to improve your infrastructure. What now we have got the company. I just spoke with your president. We can help you in bridging in making the bridges, in making the roads and other infrastructure projects. So hopefully the things will get better.
More ambassadors designated are expected to present letters this week. Mamadou Jallo, GRTS News.
And away from that, here is a joint presser from WFP and the Gambia government, and it reads, the government of the Gambia, through the Ministry of Agriculture and the United Nations World Food Programme, today launched an emergency relief package to provide food assistance to 342,000 people in 42,750 households across all regions of the country. The initiative is part of the national COVID-19 response, and according to the release, each household will receive 50 kilos bag of rice per month for a period of 4 months beginning February to May 2021. This assistance comes at a time when the country is witnessing a surge in the number of COVID-19 cases in the country. The COVID-19 pandemic has worsened the food and nutrition security status of the most vulnerable. The government of the Gambia and the WFP seeks to protect livelihoods and caution the vulnerable households from hunger, allowing faster rebound from the negative impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and promote the consumption of nutritious diets. The dispatch further adds that the Ministry of Agriculture, with support from the government and partners, is very committed today than ever to provide food assistance to vulnerable farmers and build their resilience in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic and the negative impacts of climate change. The assistance will prioritize families with less than 4 months of food stock, surviving on daily wages with no regular income or remittances, households with malnourished children and chronically ill individuals, and women or elderly headed households, many of them already restoring to reduced food intakes or meals due to affordability, and those directly impacted increasing food prices and reduced remittances from migrant workers. The release further states that the WFP's support complements government's efforts to ensure continued provision of food assistance for the most vulnerable people in the Gambia as measures to help contain the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic on livelihoods, particularly limiting access to food. The nationwide assistance will be delivered in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture and the National Disaster Management Agency. The public is hereby informed that all persons taking part in the distribution must adhere to the World Health Organization as well as the government's COVID-19 preventive measures. Arrangements have been made to ensure the safety of all persons involved in the distribution. The government of the Gambia, in partnership with the WFP, reiterates its commitment in the fight against food and nutrition insecurity and building resilience against all shocks, including COVID-19. The release ends. Meanwhile, the Vice President, Dr. Isatou Touré, Tuesday presided over the launch of the Gambia government in the World Food Programme COVID-19 Emergency Food Assistance in Kanifing. The emergency food aid is expected to benefit more than 42,750 households across the country. Yero Jallo was at the launching ceremony and now reports.
Vice President Dr. Isatou Touré said the COVID-19 pandemic has brought a linkage between health and other sectors, resulting to food and nutrition shortage. Dr. Touré pointed out that as a government, they know that hunger and malnutrition have adverse effects on not only the health and education of the people, but also on the economy of the country.
Registration teams have visited about 1,973 villages, towns, and settlements to register vulnerable households. This demonstrates my government's intention and commitment to support vulnerable families no matter where they are located. This rice distribution must be carried out on the basis of need alone, giving priority to the most urgent cases of distress and making no distinction on the basis of race, gender, religious belief, class, or political opinions. I am the president of all Gambians and will support anybody who needs support. I see Gambians and not politics or tribes.
In her statement, the Minister of Agriculture, Ame Fabre, expressed her ministry's appreciation to the WFP for partnering with the government to deliver food assistance to vulnerable and food insecure households across the country.
The government of the Gambia, through our ministries, very much appreciative and thankful to the World Food Programme, considering under close collaboration in providing the matching funds. The assistance will prioritize families with less than 4 months of food stock, surviving on daily wages with no regular income or remittances.
The acting UN resident coordinator, who also doubled as a WHO country representative to the Gambia, Dr. Nesu Turone, renewed his agency's commitment to providing concerted support to the government and continue to rally behind the government in the fight against the coronavirus.
The alignment and the coordination of many sectors, including the health and agriculture, is crucial towards cushioning the impact of the pandemic, which is yet to be fully realized. We encourage the needed resources to be strategically invested with all stakeholders working in partnership in areas of comparative advantage.
The WFP country representative Yusiro Sumara assured of his agency's resolve to work closely with the government to achieve zero hunger beyond this COVID-19 pandemic.
Allow me to commend the strong commitment of the government of the Gambia to supporting the most vulnerable people during these difficult times. This is the second nationwide food distribution in response to COVID-19, following the one that reached 84% of the population last year. We thank the government for choosing WFP as its trusted partner.
The executive director of the National Disaster Management Agency, Sanat Dahaba, said the NDMA has enhanced its partnership with WFP to develop a response plan and implement the emergency food assistance rice distribution to support the most vulnerable across the country.
To ensure effective coordination with all these relevant sectors, NDMA has worked with World Food Programme to institute a technical working group comprising World Food Programme, NDMA, Gambia Red Cross Society, Department of Social Welfare, Department of Community Development, Minister of Women and Children, Minister of Agriculture, and Social Protection Secretariat. A similar setup is being mobilized at a regional level.
The ceremony, chaired by the Lord Mayor of KMC, Talib Bensouda, was attended by cabinet ministers, representatives of the various U.S. agencies, regional governors, senior government officials, and a cross-section of the community. For GRTS News, this is Yero Jalo reporting.
Now, the Gambia will mark 56 years of nationhood on Thursday, the 18th of February. This as the country is poised to reflect on the nation's post-independence achievement. GRTS examines the impact of the Senegambia Bridge on lives and livelihoods of Gambians and non-Gambians alike. Louis Mendy reports.
The Senegambia Bridge is a kilometer-long state-of-the-art infrastructure. The Barrow government calls it a wise investment to yield massive return for the socio-economic growth of the country and beyond. Usman Jobate, the Port's managing director, explained the impact of the project.
Well, the bridge is very significant because not only facilitating access between north and south banks and also the north and southern parts of Senegal, it also serves as a vital link in the what we call the Abidjan to Dakar route, and Lagos to Dakar actually is the Trans-African Highway number 7, we call it, which provides access to link countries. There's a 4-highway lane that exists between Abidjan and Lagos, and now the next part of the project is to link Abidjan to Dakar, and the vital point in that is the Trans-Gambia Bridge, which is now up and running, and it has facilitated movement across most of these countries. So the clients are not only Gambia and Senegal, but the whole of the sub-region.
The tariff used in the crossing at the Senegambia Bridge is the same tariff used in the previous ferry services in the same crossing point. MD Jobate has confirmed.
So there's not been any change. What I can say in terms of range is that for small vehicles, saloon cars, they're paying $200 and for pickup trucks, $250, and it goes up to like a 50-ton truck would pay about $4,300. So it's the same tariff that we've been using for the ferry crossing that has been now transposed for the utilization of the bridge services.
On a good day, more than 100 vehicles from either side cross the Senegambia Bridge.
There is an increase in the revenue collection on a monthly basis because the bridge is different from the ferry services in terms of the availability of the facility. The ferries, because of the technical issues that we've been having with them, the deployment ratio was lower than compared to the access that the bridge now facilitates. On a good day, up to 100 vehicles are crossing at the bridge from both ends. But currently, the traffic is low because of the global health challenges, and most of our customers, they are coming from the Senegalese region, And because of the travel restrictions in those countries, and currently there is a curfew which restricts movements of people, it has warranted the traffic to at least slow down a little bit.
The tolling at the bridge is expected to promote financial discipline.
The tolling facility is now being handled between the GPA and NRA, and we have lately been also joined by the Minister of Finance, the Accountant General Office, to provide the oversight in terms of the revenue collection and the banking. But the toll facility is being handled by the GPA and the NRA. NRA in the sense that the bridge falls within their remit, and GPA because of the competence we have in ticketing arrangements, and our software is being used, and some of our personnel are there also. So the arrangements are working, but now there's a third layer, which is the Accountant General's Office, and they are providing the oversight for the revenue collection and the banking of the revenue. But I know for certain that as part of the aid memo with the funding agency, which is the African Development Bank, there is an objective to have a private outfit to manage the tolling facility, but that's for the long term. But really, it's a government decision, and I'm sure at the material time, the right decisions will be taken.
And as the Gambia celebrates 55 years of nationhood on Thursday, the hope is that the government continues to build on its successes for a more prosperous Gambia, socially and economically. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Meanwhile, the Gambian historian and curator Hassum Ceesay has been talking to GRTS about the country's struggle all the way to self-rule. Mr. Ceesay gave credit to the founding fathers of the nation with a specific tribute to the late President Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara. Here is an excerpt.
In the government staff list, in those days, government used to print a staff list every year. You had only 8 university graduates in the whole country, and 2 of them were medical doctors, 1 was a lawyer. So meaning basically had 5 Gambians who had gone to university and should be running the country. Okay? Like I said, and there was no tourism and no industry, only groundnuts as the basis of our economy. The other point was that because of the very fragile nature of our economy, people thought that really after 6 months, the treasury will be empty. This is why, at the margins of the independence celebrations in '65, the Prime Minister, got support from the UK for what is called Grant in Aid scheme, capital G, capital I, capital A, okay, such that every month the UK was to transfer money, like in cash, to the Gambian treasury, to the Gambia Currency Board, which later became the central bank, to be able to pay salaries and buy fuel. So the country was not ground to a halt. And that lasted from February '65 until March 1967, when our capable leaders were able to have like the first surplus budget for this country. And I think since then we never had a budget like a surplus budget since '67. So really, this pessimism was quite real, okay, but we have survived it. And the fact that we have been able to survive it until 56 years, that also I think is worthy of celebration, and also is another indication to show that really this country, if you say, we have not sort of like squandered the independence inheritance. In the government staff list, in those days government used to print a staff list every year.
Veteran historian Hassum Ceesay there speaking to GRTS in the context of the country's independence. Now, away from that, a teacher and author, Lamin Camara, has recently launched a book entitled The Cry of an Innocent Child. The event, held at a local hotel in Kololi, attracted scores of intellectuals and a cross-section of society. Mr. Camara has a wealth of experience in teaching and learning. His 113-page book of poems reveals on the well-being of children, and by Ibrahim Cham has the rest of that story in this report.
Born in Kawur, Janekonda, Lamin Kamra started his professional career as a teacher after acquiring his primary teacher certificate in 1996. With immense love for children and knowing the value of a strong foundation for children through the support of parents and society, Lamin has mentored countless youths both in academics and morals. Currently teaching at Rose Astu International, the gathering was to launch the compilation of 18 poems, including the preface, which is also written in the form of a poem, written by the erudite author. Guest speaker Dr. Keba Gumbasima, a professional in development studies, stated that the book addresses critical topics, such as hazards, pandemics, and cultural norms.
Mr. Kamara further highlighted the fact that today's children are tomorrow's elders. All children should bear this in mind. And he further reiterated what should be imbued in children to become industrious, respectful, and better elders of tomorrow, as our hope lies in them. This is what really makes this book a must-read, and I emphasize a must-read by all parents and children themselves.
President of the Gambia Writers Association, Dr. Cherno Umar Bari, reviewed the book, describing it as a masterpiece that aims at steering our emotions and provide critical thinking and thought-provoking journey for the reader, adding that the work also focuses on some serious issues affecting our communities, children, and youth.
All of his poems are central themes akin to the prose of Aesop's fables or De La Fontaine, except that here, Lamin is not making any fun conveying the message. He is addressing a society that is prone to a decadent future unless it goes back to embrace the true and enviable values and virtues of its cultural history.
And it was fitting for the gathering to witness a recitation of poems by the students of the author.
Peace of our minds always enhance success, and the peace in our societies maintains and sustains development and progress. Thank you.
Finally, the author took to the stage, thanking the audience for rendering their support towards the undertaking. He spoke of the need for the protection of children, the importance of moral and emotional support of parents and society.
Every parent should come, we put all hands and minds on deck to see that children get the better in life. They go better through the rough periods of life, because we know life is so challenging. It is embedded with certain things that children need guidance. If you don't get the guidance of the good parents or the right parents, this is why I put good or right mentors. If you don't get the guidance of the parents, then therefore you might go into ditches whereby you will find everything futile. So this is why it's a collective thing, and then I thank everyone who came here today, who are here today, to help me to make this wonderful work come true.
The book has been hailed as an important addition to the Gambia's literary field, one which is expected to help in providing a proper support system for children. Reporting for GRTS News, I'm by Ibrahim Cham.
Now, still on academia, a young female Gambian writer has also joined the list of 21st century writers in publishing her maiden book entitled Salimata. As we hear in this report by our Uminjai, the theme Determination was also launched.
Raki Jallo, a young female Gambian, is the latest to launch a book titled Salimata, themed Determination. The book looks at the experiences and challenges of a young school-going girl who struggled through her educational journey but later turned successful in life.
Looking at it inside the book, as I was going through it this afternoon, I realized that the whole book is dominated by determination. In the world, in Africa in particular, history has told us that then women are only subjected to mere producers or machines that are only a source of producing children. But here we are in the 21st century. Women are really on the verge or are already emancipating themselves from what people have believed in them.
The 115-page book by Raki Jallo truly depicts determination, transferring a message of self-trust and confidence in whatever one pursues in life. Reviewing the book, Michael Hamadiseka took the gathering through the importance of knowledge acquisition, which he said is truly showcased in the novel Salimata.
Is the author going to dance poorly to an audience that can see or sing to an audience that cannot hear? That's the dilemma of the African writer. Who are your audience? Who are your readers? They are the people who are in what we call linguistic exile. Those are your readers. It is those that book belongs to, just like at the end of the chapter. So that shows the work of literature is just like a journey. It's never completed. So Raki, you have a long way to go.
Chief launcher of the book, Madam Aissatou Ndaw, hailed the author Raki Jallow for her achievement, describing her as a passionate writer. Madam Ndaw used the opportunity to encourage and urge students, especially girls, to be reading and make education their top priority.
When we talk about literature, there was nothing on Gambian. Gambian literature was written by other people from outside. Today, we are proud and happy to have Gambians, especially young Gambians, young women, becoming writers. So I think it's something that you need to continue. And you should also be able to inspire others to also write.
The Jawara-born writer holds a HTC from the Gambia College, and she is currently in pursuance of her first degree at the University of the Gambia. She took the gathering on her motivation to write a book and also encourage female writers to give the art its best, but not without encouraging her fellow college students to read hard.
Like the team depicts determination for the girls to be determined in education, for the girls to be determined in whatever they're doing. Because in whatever you're doing, if you're not determined, you will not be able to do it. With determination, everything is possible. Yeah, I would like to encourage girls to read, because if you don't read, you will not be able to write. You read, then you write, then you tell the stories.
The event was also characterized by poetry and drama performance by the St. Joseph's Senior Secondary Drama Group.
And we have set an opportunity that is going to help girls for their education. And I can help your child.
Ominjai, GRTS.
Moving on now, Al Maktoum Foundation on Tuesday donated $13,000 to one Mama Fande and family. The mother of a 2-month-old baby lost her husband in a bush fire in Kiang Central in the Lower River region. Majan Barrow has that story.
Friday, 15th January 2021. 37-year-old Lamin Jammeh met his end when he embarked on his unusual firewood collection in the forest behind the village of Wurokang in Kiang Central. The family man perished in a bushfire and his body was found the following day on Saturday. Lamin, the breadwinner of the family at the moment, is survived by his wife Mama Fande, who is now struggling to provide family needs, especially for her 2 kids. When the Al Maktoum Foundation heard the story heartbreaking through a press release published by the National Assembly member for Kiang Central, Bakari Kamara, and his charity decided to come to their aid.
The widow appealed to the entire Gambian public to come to her assistance because she cannot even afford to buy pampers for her 2-month-old baby. So this is very, 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 very sad. So upon receiving that information, students decided to give half of their lunch, to donate to half of their lunch. And then the staff also donated something together with the proprietor to the tune of $13,000. So we are here today to present that money.
Receiving the gesture on behalf of the widow Mama Fande, the National Assembly member for Kiang Central, Bakari Kamara, thanked the foundation and students for contribution to the support package for Mama and her family.
What you have contributed, be rest assured that it's not small and it's going to benefit the family a lot. So on behalf of the family, I would really like to thank you. Definitely, I have no word except to tell you thank you. On the other side of the bushfire, I think what the principal have said, I've said that one during an interview with a journalist, that the fine attack of bushfire in this country is very minimal. And I'm really working together with the Ministry of Forestry to make sure that we revise the Forestry Act.
Students of Say Hamdan Senior Secondary School also contributed almost half of their lunch money to support Mama and family, describing her situation as sad.
we urge each and everyone to please contribute some amount of money so that we can give it to the family of the girl. It doesn't mean that we're giving it out because we're having money in our school, but it's just a matter of sympathy, because this is something that we have to do, and it is very necessary. So that was how we did it, and alhamdulillah, we have gone to the final decision.
A sum of $13,000 was handed over to the National Assembly member for Kiang Trial for onward delivery to Mama Fande and family in Kiang, Wurukang. Bush fires are becoming more frequent in Kiang, which now holds the country's biggest natural reserve. Majan Baro for GRTS News.
In another development, the Imam of Buhari's Center for Islamic Development, a humanitarian foundation in collaboration with Guimam Eye Care Association, have recently provided free eye screening service for the people of Fonyi Bondali. Khadijatu Jallo has details of that story in this report.
The people of Fonyi Bondali are the latest to benefit from this free eye care and screening exercise courtesy of Imam Buhari Center and Guimam Eye Care Association. Beneficiaries, including the Alcalo of Fonyi Bondali, Modu Koli, was appreciative of the development, which according to him is a rare opportunity for some of them who can't afford to travel to the regional eye care center in the Greater Banjul. The PRO Imam Buhari Center, Babu Njai, said this is yet another intervention that fulfills the objective of establishing the humanitarian body in their quest to complement government's efforts to improve lives and livelihoods.
Imam Buhari, we will promise Guimam that we will continue to partner with you as long as these type of ventures are done, because this is what the populace need. And whatever the populace need, I think we have to encourage it and then assist them. So today we are here to screen them, as Mr. Baji said. After the screening, those who are needed to be referred to the Seaside hospital, then they will be referred to the Seaside hospital, whatever cost it attached. So Imam Buhari will be responsible.
Yeah, I also commended their donors, such as Research for Development Charity Foundation, Osman Bun Affan Foundation, and Gambians at home and abroad for supporting Imam Buhari Center. The president, Guimam Eye Care Association, Abdullah Nget, revealed some of the eye cases on the ground, including cataract patients whom are referred to Sheikh Zayed Regional Eye Care for surgery.
We have registered good number of cataracts and other conditions like allergic conjunctivitis and some glaucoma cases. And we have wrote referrals for them to go to Sheikh Regional Eye Care Center.
Guimam Eye Care Association, Mr. Nget, went on to explain is expected to continue the voluntary screening in different parts of the country with support from partners like Imam Buhari Center. Khadijatu Jallo reporting for GRTS News.
Well, time now to take our first break. When we return, we will look at how Nigeria is tackling the shortage of oxygen supply in its medical facilities as the West African nation battles to contain the surge in COVID-19 cases in the country. Do stay with us. Back to GRTS News at 2200 hours GMT. And over now to the internationals. Nigeria has approved the release of nearly $17 million to build oxygen plants across the country. Part of the funds will also go into reviving the collapsed production facilities. Well, the initiative is meant to tackle the shortage of oxygen supplies in Nigerian medical facilities as the nation battles to contain the surge in the number of COVID-19 cases. CGT and Skelechi Emekalam reports.
Francis is a medical oxygen vendor in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. He has spent the past 7 years supplying oxygen to hospitals and more recently COVID-19 isolation centers. The small vendors' weekly supply more than doubled since the pandemic started, and demand has increased lately following the second wave of COVID-19. But recently, Francis has been unable to meet his customers' demands. The product has been scarce and prices have gone up by over 150%.
We used to refill our oxygen gas at Iduyard, but their machine went bad and the oxygen demand was too high. People were even coming from other states. Sometimes we had to wait for 2 weeks before we could make a purchase.
Oxygen is at the heart of healthcare services delivery, especially amid a pandemic that affects the respiratory system. But a shortage of oxygen has led to many deaths following the second wave of the coronavirus, which doctors say is deadlier.
Since December to now, we've seen more and more severe cases, unlike what was observed before the second wave. And that's the reason why oxygen dependency, those are the requirements of the patient, have enormously increased. The capacity for us to be able to cope with this is not yet there, and responsible for mortality that's been recorded.
In a move aimed at resolving the shortage, the Nigerian government is set to build 38 new oxygen plants across the country. It would cost $16.33 million. The process may take another year or two before completion.
The intervention must come early for the patient to survive. It's not when all the cascade of these events had recorded, you are now coming back to say oxygen. Oxygen must be given as early as possible. But my fear personally is that when this, making the pronouncement at the middle of pandemic, when will this provision be eventually come? When will these oxygen plants will be available? But to think of the gestation period of a contract process in Nigeria, that may take us 2-3 months. We don't know. Possibly COVID will have plateaued.
Medical experts say that about 10 out of every 50 COVID-19 patients would need daily oxygen treatment. Health workers have been overwhelmed by the increase in coronavirus cases and have advised citizens to take precautionary measures in order to stop the spread of the virus. Kelechi Emekalam, CGT in Abuja, Nigeria.
Now let's move over to Myanmar, where the military has cut off the internet connection for the second time since they took over power, blocking access on Monday night. Protesters are keeping up their demand for the release of Aung San Suu Kyi. The ousted leader is set to appear in court via video link on Wednesday. The military has charged her with illegally importing electronic devices. A United Nations envoy has spoken to the military leadership, warning of severe consequences for any harsh response to protesters. We have more in the CGTN report.
Day in a row, protesters took to the streets in cities across Myanmar, defying an increased military presence. In the main city of Yangon, they surrounded the headquarters of Aung San Suu Kyi's NLD party, demanding her release. Staff inside waved their support. Aung San Suu Kyi's detention expired on Monday. However, her lawyers said she had been detained for a further 2 days and would appear in court in the capital Naypyidaw via video link on Wednesday. They said they had not been given a chance to meet her or the other detained politicians.
We will try to meet Aung San Suu Kyi again, but for now they are not here. They are not allowed to be here, and there is also no video conferencing available either, so there will be no opportunities to meet them at all.
Aung San Suu Kyi faces charges which include possession of unlawful communication devices, walkie-talkies used by her security staff. Protesters voiced their demands despite a warning that long sentences and fines will apply to those who obstruct or incite hatred towards the military powers.
Mother Suu Kyi will face charges in court according to their laws soon, but she has been under that kind of action by the military since 1988, and as she is a representation of justice in the country, I believe that she can get through it very well.
Police have deployed water cannon and fired guns to break up crowds. like this demonstration on Sunday in Mayakina, the capital of northern Kachin state. It's not known if live ammunition or rubber bullets were used. However, so far, security services have not launched violent crackdowns seen in past unrest. Tensions had been building since the NLD overwhelmingly won November's general election. Without evidence, the military alleged voter fraud and demanded a rerun. Military leader General Min Aung Hlaing has said new elections will be held with what he called a reformed election commission. Meanwhile, a year-long state of emergency has been imposed. Protests on the streets, however, look set to continue. Catherine Drew, CGTN.
And now, before we end this edition of the news, let's take a quick look at our top stories this hour. More diplomats continue to present letters of credence to the Gambian President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, at the State House. And the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Touré, has presided over the launch of the Gambia government in the World Food Programme COVID-19 Emergency Food Assistance. And GRTS have been examining the country's struggle to nationhood as the Gambia celebrates 56 years of independence. On the internationals, Nigeria has approved the release of nearly $17 million fund to build oxygen plants across the country. Well, that was all in this edition of the news at 2200 hours. We thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of our very interesting programs. Bye-bye.
Agitation came in the 40s and 50s when there was a general movement in West Africa against the colonial status